Hello everyone and welcome back to another Division 2 video. The build I have for you guys today is an exceptional DPS build. This build is best suited for solo players trying to do heroic level control points, but this build will also work for group-based scenarios as it'll give your team weapon damage bonuses. I don't want to bore you guys in the intro, so let's check out this build already. Our first piece of gear is going to be the Ninja Bike Messenger Backpack. This exotic can drop anywhere and everywhere you go. It also always comes with 3 core attributes, that being weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier. This whole build is only possible because of this backpack's talent, and that's Resourceful. Resourceful works by unlocking the next step in whatever gear set or brand set that you're running. Brand set requirements that require 2 pieces now only take 1. Likewise, gear set requirements that take 4 pieces now only take 3. With Resourceful, we're going to be using these 3 pieces of ongoing directive and still get the 4-piece gear set bonus. Before we get into what the 4-piece gear set bonus does, the 2 and 3-piece set bonus gives us 15% status effects and 30% reload speed. The 4-piece set bonus is going to amplify our damage by 50% and our allies' damage by 20%. The way this works is we first need to apply a status effect to a target, then damage the target. Once the target is killed, we will get a full magazine of hollow point ammo, and our teammates will get half a magazine of hollow point ammo. Hollow point ammo amplifies damage by 20% and applies bleed, but because we are using the chest piece, we are getting a 50% damage buff. Just a reminder, we get the 50%, our teammates get 20%. Because we have an amazing foundation for weapon damage, we need to add crit chance. Because of that, we're going to go with 1 piece of Providence. Our 1 piece of Providence happens to fall in the holster. We're going to be getting 13% headshot damage and 8% critical hit chance for the 2-piece brand set bonus. We're going to want both critical hit chance and critical hit damage on this holster, and the same goes for our final piece of gear, the Walker Harris knee pads. The reason I've chosen to go with 1 piece of Walker Harris is because we get 5% weapon damage and 5% damage to armor. Why would I use the Walker Harris knee pads over the Fox's Prayer knee pads? The answer is simple. Damage. You'll do more damage with the Walker Harris knee pads than you will with the Fox's Prayer knee pad. The reason for that is you get the multiplicative damage from the weapon damage and armor damage bonuses, and you still can have crit chance and crit damage as the attributes. This may not be true if you decide to use a rifle with this build, but I developed this build with the intention of using ARs and SMGs. While we're on the subject, let's talk about SMGs first. SMGs are in a really good place right now within the Division 2. The few shown on screen right now are tried and tested with this build and work great. The talents you're going to want are either Vindicative, which gives you and your teammates 21% critical hit damage and 21% critical hit chance for 20 seconds after you kill an enemy that's status affected, or Sadist, which gives 30% amplified damage to bleeding targets. SMGs are a great choice for close range DPS, and if you wanted to use this build with just SMGs, it would still be fine. But if you're like me and want something with a little bit more accuracy but still keep the fire rate, then you might want to try out the FAMAS. The FAMAS happens to be the weapon this build was originally developed with, and it worked really well while I was playing Summit on Legendary difficulty. But as I ascended the tower with this build and tried other open world activities, I quickly began to realize that the tankier the targets meant the less likely this build would remain effective. However, there was one really easy solution to this, and that's to slow down the RPM of the firearm. In the Division 2, firearms with a slower silic rate do more damage per shot. What that translates to is, say, an AKM with 154k base damage and a 600 RPM, it's going to hit hard enough to where we're not going to be running out of ammo before we're taking down targets. This means it's a lot easier for us to perpetuate the power of this build. Though all of that is true, it is a poor choice to run a build without redundancies. All that's going to do is make your build less effective, and you're not going to be able to operate it as consistently as you would with redundancies. In this case, that is specific to the status effects, because without the status effects we cannot get the damage in the first place. It is for that reason I've decided to go with the Gunner Specialization, specifically for the Banshee Pulse. The Banshee Pulse was chosen because it's my personal preference, however you can use any of the skills that you want to. You could pick any of the skills that are shown on screen right now, but I personally would choose the skills that are more target-based or have a large area of effect. Target-based skills would be more like the Sticky Bomb or the Firefly, while area of effect skills would be more like your Bleed Hive or your Jammer Pulse. Area denial skills, like your Shock Traps or your Incinerator Turret, are still viable options. I'm just not personally inclined to use those kind of skills. Here's an overshot of all the pieces in this build. And now for the stat review. We have 1 armor core, 6 damage cores, 4 critical hit chance attributes, 3 critical hit damage attributes, 2 critical hit chance mods, and 1 critical hit damage mod. For the second part of the stat review, we have 59% critical hit chance, 102% critical hit damage, 5% damage to armor, 10% damage to targets out of cover, and 88% headshot damage. If you've made it this far into the video, I want to thank you so much for sticking around. If there's anything you guys would like to see or see me improve within my videos, please let me know. My clan, the Bare Minimums, is still very much open for anyone to join. Stick around if you'd like to see a little bit more footage of this build absolutely destroying all of my enemies. And if not, I still appreciate you for watching the video, but that's going to wrap this one up. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!
All site facilities are reset to default or reinforcements incoming. Assistance needed.